Welcome, it's great to see you here. Today we are going to create a stunning resume or portfolio website that can showcase your skills, experience and projects. This website will be built using the latest and most advanced technology stack, including Next.js 13 with experimental features, Tailwind CSS and deployed using Vercel. Next.js is a popular React-based framework that allows you to create fast and scalable websites. Tailwind CSS is a utility-first CSS framework that makes styling fast and effortless. Finally, Vercel is a cloud platform that allows you to easily deploy your website. Prerequisites for this video. You don't need to have Next.js knowledge or React for this tutorial, but I think you should know about web development, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. Basic understandings will do. By the end of this tutorial, you'll have a beautiful design, highly functional, and easy to maintain website that you can be proud of. Not only that, but at the end, you will have some suggestions you can do to improve this website. I have a challenge for you. Are you up for it? I'm offering a one-to-one session with the first 2 people who complete this tutorial and meet the requirements. During our sessions, we can share experiences and I'll be happy to offer advice on your job search or help with any struggles you might have. To participate, simply follow the step outlined in the description box below. First, add one of the suggestions I'll mention at the end of the video. Then let me know you finished the course by leaving a comment. Finally, send me a link to your GitHub repo by messaging me privately on Twitter or by email. Are you ready to take on this challenge? Let's do it! The purpose of this video is to teach you how to build a dynamic and professional resume or portfolio that you can share with companies meanwhile you practice the stack. By the end of this tutorial, you will have a better understanding of these technologies and the skills needed to create a website of your own. Why is it important to build an online resume or curriculum? Having an online CV has numerous benefits that can help you stand out in today's digital job market, especially if you are a software engineer just starting out and might not have much professional experience. There is no better way to stand out than by coding your own CV. Firstly, an online resume is easily accessible from anywhere and can be quickly shared with potential employers. This saves time and makes the application process more efficient. Secondly, an online resume allows you to showcase your work and skills in a visual, appealing, and interactive way. This gives you the opportunity to stand out from other candidates and show your creativity and technical abilities. Thirdly, having an online curriculum allows you to easily track its view and measure its impact, giving you valuable insights into your job search. Whether you are just starting out in your career or are a seasoned professional, an online curriculum is an essential tool in today's digital world. I have to admit that I've been slacking on my own online resume and portfolio. I started a few years back, but life just got in the way and I never got around to finish it. But you know what? Today I thought to myself, why not use this opportunity to help someone else out? So you are not only going to learn Next.js and Tailwind CSS, but you are also going to learn how to structure and what to add to your resume. So let's do this together. Are you ready to build an amazing curriculum website? Let's dive in and take a look at what we are going to build first. This design is different than most resumes websites and you'll soon understand why. On the left-hand side, you'll find the main details. A photo, the name, the role you want to be hired for, and this is crucial. Even if you are currently working as a tester engineer but you want to make a switch, you should write the exact role you are seeking. And if you are looking to move up, don't hesitate to mention a higher role like senior software engineer, even if you haven't had that title before. Your professional experience will speak for itself. At the bottom here, you'll find your education details and the contact information, where you can add your email, the Twitter link, the LinkedIn link, or media, or any other details you like. Then, at the right-hand side, we have the About Me sections where you can showcase the best things about yourself. The current best practice in CV writing is to write in first person implied. This means that you use the first person verb tense without using the pronouns I, my, we, etc. Below that, we have the skills, soft skills and hard skills, and these are tabs. By default, the soft skills is active, but we can easily go to the hard skills just by clicking on it, on this tab. And then if we scroll down, we have the professional experience. The first card has a green top line indicating is your current job. Each card has a title, a job role title, and then the description. If you don't have any professional experience, don't worry. You can list here any project you worked on in your university, bootcamp, or on your own. And that's the design. The left-hand side will remain fixed on the screen while you can scroll through all the other sections to your heart's content. Okay, before getting started, make sure you have installed Node.js, NPM or jar or any other package manager so you can manage libraries in JavaScript projects, and a test editor like Visual Studio Code. That's what I'm going to use at least. And Git. Those are the prerequisites for this video. If you don't have any of this installed, pause the video, download them, install them, and come back to it. First, head over to the source code. The link is in the description box below. We are going to clone the project. Cloning a project is the process of copying it to your own computer so you can work on it locally. Okay? To clone the project, first make sure you have Git installed on your computer. If you don't have it, please go and download it from the official site and come back. This repository has 3 branches. One is the main, but then the 2 other branches that we are interested in is Initial App, which is initial branch, that has all the images, data, and everything that you need to complete the project. And then Final App, that has the final version of the project that we'll be working on. Make sure you clone the initial app and only use the final app to check out the result. So let's select the initial app and click here in this green button, Code, and then you need to select how you want to clone this, HTTPS, SSH, or GitHub key. I'm going to use this one as I already have a key as SSH key set up. So you can click here, copy it, and then you come to your terminal, navigate to the folder, to the directory where you want to clone the project, and do git clone, and that just paste here the link. Okay, I already have it installed, so for you it will take a minute or so. Okay, so after you run this command, you should see the project being cloned on your computer. And you can navigate to the price directory like cd and resume web app, okay? And we can start working on it. That's it. Now we need to install all the dependencies. So npm install, if you use npm, in my case I use jar, so I'm going to use jar install like this, okay? And we need to wait a couple of minutes until it finishes. And yeah, so the reason why we need to run this is because we need to install all the necessary dependencies that this project requires to run, okay? So once all of this is done, I'm just gonna clear the console, we can open the project in the text editor. I'm going to use Visual Studio Code. So from my terminal, I'm going to do code space dot, and this is going to open VS Code. If this doesn't work for you, that means that you need to install this command. So come to VS Code here and do Command Shift P and then show command install code. You're clicking enter, okay. You close it, and if you do code dot again, you should be able to open your project directly in VS Code. Cool, so let's have a look at what we have within package.json. Here we can see this script. This is what we are going to use to run the project, to build the project, and so on. And here we see all the dependencies that this project has. So next, React DOM, and then the dev dependencies. Okay, let's start the development server. For that, terminal, new terminal, okay, yarn or npm, run dev. okay? And now you should be able to open your website, localhost, and then, yes, this is what you should be seeing at the moment. First, I'm going to create a new branch as I want to leave the initial stage of the project intact, so I can start working towards the final result. And I'm going to call this branch final app. Okay, to do that, I come here, I can stop this for the moment, and I do git checkout B to create a new one, and then here I said final app. Just a note, in this project, we are cloning what we have in the repository, so we are not starting from scratch, which means like we are not installing Next.js or Tailwind CSS from scratch. So if you're unfamiliar with how to install these frameworks, I suggest following the documentation. Familiarizing yourself with reading and understanding the documentation is crucial. Don't worry, in my next video, we will start from scratch. At the moment, this app is using Next.js 13, but the production version. We can know this because we have the routing looking like this, like pages and so on. We are going to be using the experimental features as it has been really requested. With the introduction of Next.js 13 version, a new app directory was introduced which uses file system-based routing and adheres to naming conventions for various use cases. Let's create the new app directory. So we come here to the root of the project and we create a new folder called app, okay? And here we are going to create a file called page.jsx because we are using JavaScript. And now if we go to the terminal and we try to run our app, okay, let's just do yarn run dev. We are going to run into this issue that says the app directory is experimental, so we need to enable this. So we are going to copy this and come to the Next.js config.js here, okay? And here we are going to say experimental, yeah. And then we paste this app there, directory equal to true. Now, we can run our project again. And there is something that we forgot to do, which is we can now remove this pages folder, okay? This is the old version, old but still the stable version. Right, okay. So we remove that. Let's run this again. We can now see that two other files have been created here. One is the head, and the other is the layout. Here in page, we are not seeing anything in the page because at the moment we are not returning anything. So let's just return a quick functional component that says page, okay? We refresh this and now we can see our page. This structure here allows you to create components within the same folder rather than needing to create a separate components directory. And we'll see this more in detail in a little bit. And okay, let's start building our website. Let's start for having a look at what we have in the configuration of Tailwind. Tailwind config file in Tailwind CSS project is where you can configure the default styles, colors, fonts, spacing, media query, and other settings for your project, okay? This content here specifies an array of files path to search for source code that needs to be processed by Tailwind CSS. The theme here extends the default Tailwind CSS theme with additional customization options, okay? And you can specify any custom styles to the theme extend object here. So this plugin here, we are not going to use it, but this specifies an array of plugins that should be used to extend the functionality of this framework. Let's go to post CSS config. Here, we need to specify the path where we have our Tailwind CSS config, okay? So here, I'm going to do config tailwind conf.config config.js, because this is the name of our file, and we save this. So something else that we also need to know is that Tailwind automatically adds vendor prefixes to CSS rules. These prefixes are necessary for some CSS features to work properly in different browsers, okay? So in Tailwind, the auto prefixer is integrated into the build process, so you don't have to worry about adding vendors like WebKit transform. Okay, so now let's add our specific styles to the Tailwind config.js. So here, okay, we want to have our specific styles that are our black, our yellow, grays, blues, and our greens, okay? So I'm just gonna copy what I have over here into here. So theme color, okay. If I copy it here, these colors, what I'm telling Tailwind is that these are the colors that I want to use for my website, okay? So that means that I'm not going to be able to use the colors that comes by default with the framework. If I wanted to extend these colors, and not replace the ones that Tailwind already use, I hope you already have a bit of an idea of how Tailwind works, because that will really help. But if you don't worry, we'll go through it and you'll understand everything, okay? It will make a lot more sense once that we start working on the website. Okay, anyway, so if we only want to extend these colors, we will include them within this object extend, okay? But these are the colors that we have. This is our palette color, so we are just gonna leave it like that. We are also going to have, let's just copy this font family. Okay, we are not even going to use this, but I just want to show you how you could customize this. You could customize the sans font that you want to use for the project, the serif, and then the display one. You could also have here your font size, okay? So we have SM, base, LG, XL, 2XL, and so on. To be honest, I have something here that we are probably not going to use, but I just want to show you that what you can add to extend. You can also add the screens, okay? So you could specify here exactly your media query. So if you say SM 640, this will mean that the minimal width is 640, okay? So when you are adding your classes, and if you add SM and colon, and the style that you want, imagine that is hover something, right? So this hover will only apply to these screens that follow this rule, okay? All the screens that are at least 640 pixels width, okay? So these are just a few things that we can have, and here you could add plugins as well. We don't need this, so I think we are just gonna leave it as it is for now, and we will carry on adding things as we go. If we go back to the design, we can see that this is the only page that we have. So we are only going to create one page. We are just going to leave this page here. Okay, and then, so this sidebar is going to stay fixed. So this probably will go to the layout, and then we will leave all of this content in our page. Let's go to our layout first. So this is the file that Next.js has created for us automatically. This is the root of our project. As you can see here, we have the HTML tags, and then we have head here. But Next.js has also created this head file where we can add all the data that you will usually put in the head. Obviously, all the title, the descriptions, the favicons, all the meta content, and so on. For this tutorial, we are just gonna leave it like this, okay? But yeah, here you could put like resume and on your name, okay? And then the layout, okay? So this is our body, this is our children. This is where all our pages will go, okay? So here is where we can actually create our header and footer, and just to ensure that this header and footer is going to be shared across all the pages. we can have a specific layouts per pages with this new Next.js 13 experimental feature, but we will see that in the next tutorial, okay? Because in this tutorial, we only have one page, okay? If I go to the design again, this is the only page that we have. So this sidebar, we are going to add this sidebar here to the layout. And then all of this content, as we said, this is going to go in the page, okay? So let's just start by creating the sidebar component. For that, I'm going to come here and create a component folder, okay? And here I'm going to say sidebar.jsx because we are using JavaScript here, okay? And I'm just gonna create a React arrow function component. So just by typing it like this, you see, just create this. And it's a lot easier, right? It's a lot faster. I'm just gonna make this uppercase, the first letter. Okay. So this is our component. And now we are gonna go to the layout and we are gonna call it sidebar. And we're just gonna call it like this, okay? I'm just gonna show you how this works. Okay, so yes, we can see here page and then sidebar, okay? And it's appear underneath of page, and that is because this shouldn't be here actually, sorry. This needs to go inside our body, okay? So let's just put it here. Just set this again, and we can see sidebar and page, okay? Before starting to create the sidebar, let's have a look at the data that I let here prepare for you. Let's open it, paste data. Okay, so let's have a look at what we have. We have the personal data. So all of this is what is going to go in the sidebar, okay? And then we have the about me section, okay, cool. Then skills, so we can see here the icons and the skills, the soft and the hard. And then professional data, okay, title, experience. So all of this is what I call our cards. All of this, okay. We close this, and this is all the data that we have. So it's really useful to have all the data organized like this. You can use this format, or you can have it in a JSON. So in a JSON, I hope you have a little bit of idea of how the JSON structure would be, but it would be really similar, right? You will have here as well personal data, and then you will open it like this, and you will have the same structure as you have here. This is also good. I like having it like this when I work in React Next.js projects and so on, especially if I use TypeScript actually, which it doesn't apply for this project, but yeah, and then all of these I export all of these cons, so then I can import them in the pages. So for example, if I go here to layout, right? I could import it here, import, and we said that we are going to need personal data, you see it. Cool. And then let's have a look. CLG personal data, save it. And we can see here in the console all our data of the page. And that just reminds me that I need to say that in this new version, all the components are server components, okay? All of them. So if we come here, for example, let me just go to the side, and we inspect the element, and we say console, we are not going to see here the data, okay? Okay. We are not going to see this. One second, cannot appear as a child. Oh, I think this is an old message. Let me just refresh it. Okay, it's gone. Cool. That's because before I put the sidebar outside the body, okay? But yeah, sorry. What I was saying is that all of this is not going to appear in the console of the client because all of this is generated on the server, and all the components are server-side components. We will see how to convert them into client components when we start working on some client components like the sidebar. A sidebar? No, actually not the sidebar, but some other, okay? So let's just make this smaller actually. Just remove this console log for now. And let's just save this. And yes, we are going to start them working on this sidebar. Okay, so first we are gonna have a main div, and then I'm going to create another div in the middle, okay? And here we are going to have an h1 for the title, for the name. So name, I'm just gonna start by adding the data like this, okay? And here, yes, and here I'm just gonna add data just like this. So this data is what is gonna come from here, okay? But I'm gonna pass it as a prop from layout and so on. So, okay, we have a h1. And now let's just have a look at the design here. Okay, so we are gonna have, okay, an image first, then a name, the role, these paragraphs, and the contact details, okay? Image, and I'm going to use the image coming from Next.js, okay? So I'm just gonna leave it like this for the moment. Title h2 with the role. Then we are going to have 2 paragraphs. So paragraph 1, and let's have a look here. So this is education, and we have an array of education. So I want each element of the array to be a paragraph. So education, okay? And let's just close this. And let me just put this one here, okay? So here is going to go the education. I'm just gonna leave it like this for the moment. I'm just gonna show you how to change this education to. Then we are gonna have a div here where we have an h3 contact me. And then I'm going to have a bunch of links, okay? href. No, just like this, and it's gonna have an icon in the middle. These icons here, I already left them prepared for you as well. So if you go to components, I haven't. Okay, no worries. In the initial branch, I'll make sure I push those icons. I'm just gonna copy them. I'm just gonna come here to components and icons, okay? So here you can see the icons. And so we have an envelope, LinkedIn, Medium, Twitter, okay? So I'm just gonna show you how they look like. These are just an SVG file. I download them and just create a component. And yeah, so I'm passing a class name down so we can add class names to the SVG. And I created an index which are exporting all of them, okay? So this is to make it easier to import multiple icons in one page. So for example, here in Sidebar, instead of importing each specific icon like this, okay, like envelope now, and then doing the same, for example, for Twitter, and then here Twitter, what we could do is remove, remove this, okay, add this one here, and just leave it as icon, just like this, because these icons, this index is exporting all of them, okay? So it's make it a little bit tighter and cleaner to read the code, because you don't need to have as many lines of code. We also need LinkedIn, Medium, and yeah, I think that's all. So for example, we can come here and set Twitter and just close it like this. And yeah, let's just save it and have a look. Okay, it's gonna run a few issues, so I'm going to sort out this data first, okay? So here, education, and well, we could just make it seem easy for us and just say education, and we want the first element. And then education, and we want the second element, which will have the index 1, right? and then contact me, and yes, so name. Okay, so now we could come here. Okay, we are already passing the data, or we are not. Okay, so in sidebar from layout, we are going to pass the data down. So personal data, pass to data. We save it. We go back to sidebar. Okay, and now I want to destructure everything that is within data, because otherwise I'm gonna have to do this data.name, data.role, and it's a bit long. So something that I like to do is destructure this and say name, role, education, and then I'm not sure what else it was, links. Let me go back to the data. Contact links, okay? And then data, just like this. And then there you go. We are already seeing our data here. And we can see the icon, which is purple right now, okay? And okay, so yeah, we could just leave the education like this. You could also create a map, you know, where you have education, map, and then we'll see that later on in the course, actually. So let's just leave this like this. And we need a link per, yes, we need a link per icon, okay? So just gonna make it simple and just gonna say contact links 0. And then something that is quite good practice is to add a area label. Let's just say Twitter link. And I'm going to add here a check, just in case it doesn't try to check the first element if we don't have contact links data ready for us, okay? So I'm just gonna copy this 3 more times. And I think here we have an envelope, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Medium. So envelope, and here we're gonna say Twitter, no, email link. Okay, so, and this is going to be, oh, yes, 1, 2, 3, and here is Medium, LinkedIn, and Twitter. We save it. Let's go back to the website and we can see here all our icons, okay? Cool. Right, and let's start adding some styles to our sidebar there. Okay, let's start adding the CSS. I had to learn Tailwind CSS to make these tutorials, and I have to say that, I mean, the classes are going to get quite long, so we're going to have to add quite a lot of code, but it's actually quite cool. It has loads of different classes, and I have to agree. I think it's great for people who are starting to learn to code, okay? So everything that we don't know, we're just gonna come here, search for it, and it probably will show us exactly how the class is. Cool. Okay, so let's start. First, we want our depth here to be full height, okay? The full height of the screen. And I want it to be black. And I also want it to be display flex in a column, okay? So I'm going to start by the color. So BG, and then black. And this is going to be exactly the black that we specify here, okay? So that is actually quite cool. And this is the page. Actually, just to see the difference between the page and the sidebar, I'm just gonna add here a class. Let's just say BG green, okay? And just gonna close it. Come here. Let's just close. Let's just close this one as well. Okay. So, class name. Paste this, and then flex column, and then H, and I think it's H screen, but that's what we have here, Tailwind, the CSS documentation open. A screen, yes, there you go. Okay, so we can use it like this. Cool. Okay, so let's just save this. Come here. PG black. Oops. I think we need to have it just like this. Okay. So now that we are adding our CSS, I just remember that there is one important thing that we need to do first, okay? Which is we need to come here and create a global CSS file, okay? So in app, we are gonna click in new file and global.css, okay? This is going to be our global CSS. And we are going to call this in our layout. Because the layout, as we said, is what it wraps our whole application, okay? So, it's gonna do it here before this. So import./globals.css. So I'm just gonna remove this. Okay, and now I'm gonna come to the global CSS and just gonna copy here this. Okay, Tailwind base. So this is everything that we want to import. We save it, and now finally we can see our green and our black, and all our text here is in black. So let's just change that as well. Okay, so let's just recap. We need to configure our Tailwind config.js file. Then import CSS config, we connect it, and then create a new file that is global.css, calling these Tailwind base components and utility, and called this file from layout or from whatever you want to call it, which it doesn't make sense that you will call it in layout, to be honest. So call it here and start adding your styles, okay? Clear? Cool, let's continue that. Every time that we design or add the styles, we need to also keep in mind the design for desktop and the design for mobile, okay? And something else that we also need to have a look while we do this is the design for mobiles. And this is how it will look like, okay? So this will continue down here, okay? What we have as a sidebar, we will have it as full width. So let's just start adding the design and keeping that on mind. I'm going to come here, I'm going to say, so if it's for something bigger than a mobile, I wanted this to be justified around, okay? So I want the justified content to have a space around. So sm justify, here it is around, okay? And I also want sm the width to be 1/3, okay? Because it's more or less 1/3 of the screen. And then we will say as well sm and fixed, because we want this to be fixed only if this, okay? So now we have it good like that, and then we make it a mobile, you can see how. It's okay. Cool. Okay, if it's not a desktop, then we want the justified to be between. Okay. Sorry, the content here. Okay, so content between, justify around for the screens bigger than 640 pixels, and the width is 1/3 and sm fixed. Okay. But if it's a mobile, I want the width to be full. So let's come here. We make it smaller. Okay, cool. This is working. Okay, now let's go to the second div. So here we want this to be flex and flex column as well. Okay, and we want it to have a padding around of 10 pixels. So this, and I save it. It's how it looks at the moment. So cool. And now let's just start adding our image attributes. So first of all, this is our first image of the page. So we could add here as priority if we want. Now width, we want this to be 300, and height 300. Okay. Now the source of the image, I already have added it to the project, so you don't need to lose time looking for images, and is here in public images, and is this one, okay? I took it from an splash. So because I took it from there, I am going to add in alt and in the area label as well, the name of the person that took it, okay? That's just fair enough. So like this. But you will obviously place here your own photo, okay? If you wish, or any photo that you want, really, that represents you. And so cool, okay? And now it's telling us that if we are using image, it must start with this. Okay, sorry. So it should start like this. Okay. And we are going to also add here class name. And I want the classes to be, I want it to be circle, so rounded, and rounded completely, so rounded full. And then I want the height to be full. Sorry, this will be quotes. Okay, that's looking better. And now I want a bit of a space underneath, right? So let's just say margin bottom 6. Cool. This is looking cool. And let's continue, and yeah, let's just actually set up this style for our H1, H2, and paragraphs. And to do that, we are going to come here to global CSS, and we are going to say add layer base, okay? And now we are going to have H1, and we want all of our H1s to be yellow because we only have one H1, and our H1 here is yellow. So apply, and then text is yellow, okay? We save it, and we can see here our yellow color straight away. Just gonna move this slightly. Okay, there you go. And then H2, and we are just gonna copy this, and let's just copy it 2 more times for H3 and H4. And actually, let's just add here the paragraphs, okay? So the test for this one, we want it to be for a smaller screen text for Excel, and then for anything that is bigger than 640 pixels, right? Because that's what we have defined here, okay? SM 640 pixels. We want it to be text Excel 6XL. Now, okay, so, and then for the H2, we want text to Excel, and for the H3, let's just say text X, and I think I have one for LG, and for H4 text base, and then text base the same for the paragraph, okay? Save it, and here we have it, okay? And also, let's add our font family. So I'm just gonna come here, I'm just gonna say H1, H2, H3, and H4. I want to apply the font family, and we could set font display here. Font display, sorry, we need to add apply font display. So yeah, we can see here, and this font display comes from here, okay? This is where I define it. Cool. And then HTML, I want the HTML to be, let's say, font serif. Okay, so let's go back to Sidebar here, and this is looking good, but I'm missing a bit of margin and spaces around. So let's just say class name, okay, MB4, for example, okay, or maybe a little bit less. Oops. Yes. And now let's just copy this and do it here as well. And let's just here these spaces. And now 8. Okay, maybe like this. And then in the H3 here, let's just place it in the middle, like in the design, and let's add some paddings around it. So class name, text white, and then I want it to be text center, and MB4, MT4. Okay, we could also do this. Yes, like that. Okay, yes, no, let's just leave it like this. And let's have a look how it is when it's small. And well, let's just bring it here. Okay, it's quite small. But yeah, let's just make this capital. Contact me. Okay, and okay, let's just add more padding for here. It looks okay, but let's just add more padding for bigger screen. So okay, yeah, this looks a bit better. And now we probably should wrap all of these links into a div, so then we can display flex row. Okay, so div, and now class, and this is gonna be a flex row. Gonna add it now like that, and gonna come down here, wrap all of them. Okay, this looks good. And now we are gonna say we want them to be justified center and gap 1. Okay, and let's come here, let's have a look. Gap 1, maybe we need a little bit more. Gap 2. Okay, let's just add some styles to the icons first. And because there are quite a few, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a class name, just to show you that you can also have your custom class name. You don't need to only rely on Tailwind CSS classes, okay? So I'm going to call these icons contact me. Copy this, paste it. And paste it here. I'm just gonna copy this one, then come to the global CSS, and here dot icons contact me, I can start applying the CSS that we want, right? So we're going to apply text to Excel, and now text white as well, although yes, no, we don't need this, it's already white. And M2 to have margins around this one, class name, and bottom 2. Okay, and this looks a little bit better. Okay, cool. And let's just make central all of this in the middle. So let's just say here item center, I think it is. Yes, item center. Okay, cool. Okay, so we have our sidebar done, I think. Yep. And now if we make our screen smaller, it looks like this. Okay. And we could probably get rid of this space. Let's just inspect the element. And what do we have? Okay, high O2. Okay, So I think I'm just gonna add a height 02 here. So in this one, height 02 like this, save it. Let's just go to a bigger screen. But we said that we need this, right? So we're going to apply this only for the SM screens. Okay, cool. So here is 100%, and then when it gets smaller is 02, so it doesn't take more space that it needs. Okay, let's go back to the layout here, and because we are going to add some styles here to the main children. So okay, so we are gonna wrap this in main, okay, and now children is gonna go in the middle. If we inspect this element here, we can see that our main content is sitting full width underneath the sidebar. Okay, so what we need to do is just give some classes to the body so it will display both contents side by side, okay? So first, in body, we are going to add class name, and we want this to be flex. And for desktop, we wanted to have 2 columns, right? So we wanted to display as in a row. But for mobile, we wanted to have only 1 column, okay? So for mobile, we will say flex col, and then SM flex row, okay? Cool, and now we come here, let's just make this bigger. And our green has disappeared, our green layer, okay? Is somewhere here because it doesn't have styles yet. Okay, so let's come to main and add class name. And now here we wanted to say that it should grow full, okay? And now we wanted to have some padding around so the content has some space. And now let's say basics 1/3. Okay, and let's just keep this PG green just so I know where I am. And then I'm just gonna say the margin left, I want it to be 02, okay? Cool, so we can see it here. Okay, so sorry, 2/3, let's just try with this. Is it exactly 2/3? Yep. Okay, because this is 1/3. Okay, cool. So we can just leave it like this as 2/3. And yes, okay, so now you can see that if we are here, nevertheless, this main is not full width, so we need to change that. So we are going to add this like this, and then with this is going to be full. Okay, we save it. Okay, and there you go. For mobile, it's looking like this, and then for desktop, like this. Okay, now that we have all of this working, let's remove this background. And let's go back to our page. Let's start creating the content for the page. Let's smooth this out of the way and display the About Me section. Okay. So let's remove this. And here within our page, we need a component for About Us, and also we need another component for professional experience, okay? So let's start for creating a component for About Us. We are gonna come here, and within components, I'm gonna click in new, and About Me, actually, sorry, not us, me. So there are no confusions. Let me just correct this. And I'm going to create a functional component here. about me. Okay, I'm gonna save it. And this, we also have the data about these components in data paste data. And this data is displayed here, okay? So title and body, and we have two elements within the body, okay? So first thing we are going to do is, we are gonna come here to the about me, and we are gonna say that here we have an H2 with the title, okay? So title, and then we have a paragraph for the body. I'm just gonna leave it like this for the moment. And we are going to do the same as we did earlier. Data, const, title, and body. And let me just double check. Yeah, it's body equal data, okay? And now we go to the page. Let's just call here our new component, about me. And I'm just going to pass the data. And this data, I'm going to import it here. Import about me data. And now I can just do this. Okay. And if we go to our site, we can see how is displayed here the title at least. Okay. And now for the body, I'm gonna show you how we can display multiple paragraphs, like multiple elements, just having like a shorter code rather than having like we did earlier, like two paragraphs with the code and then calling it like this. I'm just gonna show you how to do it. Okay, so we are gonna say body, and then if we had the body, then we want to map this, and then a paragraph. I'm just gonna call it element, right? And here I'm going to display the element. Save it, and we can see here our code. And now here we can pass the class. And something quite important is that we need to add a key. Okay, every time that we map, we need to add a key. And it's important to provide a unique key for each item in an array when we are rendering a list of components, okay? Because it can react to identify each component for updates and performance optimization, okay? So for that, I'm gonna pass the index as well. And here I'm going to use a hook that comes from React. So use ID. And I'm going to say const ID is equal to use ID. And this is going to create a unique ID for us. So I'm going to have use the ID underscore and then the index, okay? Like this. So now we save it. And let's have a look, okay? And we need a bit of padding. So let's just say MB6, and here as well. Let's just say MB6, or maybe a little bit more. Okay? Cool, this is looking good. And I'm just gonna remove this from here. And in about me, actually, rather than having here a div, I'm just gonna call this section. Section, save it. And I'm just gonna apply some styles to all the sections of our page, which will be the about me and the professional experience one. So here's section. And now we open this and we are going to say apply MB10, okay? So we make sure that we are applying some padding around. Some margin bottom, actually. Let's go back to here, about me, and I can see that this should be uppercase, and we have it here as, well, uppercase, the first letter, and then lowercase. And something that we can do if we don't want to rewrite this is we could come here to the global CSS and just transform this text. So I only want this for the main H2 titles though, because this one should stay as it is. If we check the design, yes, it should just stay as it is. So I'm gonna come and say main h2 and then applied and uppercase, and we're gonna make sure that they are black, text black, and yeah, let's just leave it like this, and now we can see. Okay, let's go to about me, and yeah, I think this is all we need to do about me. Okay, well, the first part of about me. Now let's work on the soft skills and hard skills. And for that, I'm going to create a new component that I'm going to call from here, okay? I'm going to call it from the about me, but just going to create it separate just to have it more tidy. And skills dot CSS and the same. Skills and skills, okay? Let's build these tabs here. So for this, we need 2 buttons. So button 1, type button, okay, and soft skills, and let me close this one, and hard skills. Okay, and let's just call this component in our about us component so we can see it. Skills. And we can see here the 2 buttons. Cool. So first, let's start by adding some styles here. So class flex. So we want this to be displaying a flex row. So flex, okay. And now class name. So the width we want it to be 50%, okay? So the height H12. Let's just save this. Let's just give it a background color. Gray, let's just say gray for the moment. Okay, text black. I want this to font to display, so I also want it to display in uppercase. So uppercase and the text XL. Cool. This is looking more like the designs, okay? And yes, so I might need the same designs here for this second button. Okay, so maybe the best thing that we can do is create a new class. So let's say button 10, and let's just copy all of this and come to the global CSS, and here can just declare it, and we only need here the apply. Save it, copy this class, and come back here to the skills component, and we can copy this hard skills, and as we can see we have both. Okay, so now we need to have a status where we store when one of the tabs is active. Okay, so for that I'm going to use the hook use state. So I'm gonna come here and use state. Okay, and here I'm gonna say const active tab set, and set this one. Active tab is equal to use state, and by default I want the soft skills to be selected, so I'm going to select soft. Okay, and now we save this, use state. Okay, so let's have a look at this error. You're importing a component that needs use state. It only works in a client component, but none of its parents are marked with use client. So they are server component by default. Okay, so as we said earlier, all the components within Next.js 13, this experimental feature, are server components by default. So if you want to compare one component to client component, it's as simple as just following what it says here in the arrow. We need to copy this use client and paste it here at the top, just like this. Save it, and the error is gone. Okay, super easy. So at the moment we have two buttons, and soft skills is active by default because we define it here, and we want to change the state of the active class when we click in one button or the other. So if we click on hard skills, we want to make this one active. Okay, so let's add that. On click, and let's just say set active tab, and we'll say soft. Okay, and we'll need to do the same for the hard skills button. Hard. Okay, so we add a console log, active tab. Let's just open the console log, and let me just make this a bit bigger so we can actually see it. Okay, so if we click in soft skills, hard skills, set active is not defined. Oops, okay. Okay, let's save it again. Let's come back here. And now, yeah, it's soft, hard, okay? So this is working, but now what we want to do is change the styles. So the active class should be yellow and, yeah, yellow, and the other one, it should be gray background. So let's come here then. And before doing that, you might be realizing that, let's just leave it like this, that here, these two buttons have pretty much the same information apart from having the soft or the hard skills and so on. So we could have a map here, so we could create an array and say soft, and then hard, and then here set map. Okay, we need to wrap all of this in curly brackets and say element, and print this in the middle. Okay, gonna save it. Okay, so and now we could just replace these ones here. So we could replace this L, and here the same. We could display L, the element. Okay, so this would be the element, soft or hard, and it will create two buttons. Okay, we can see here the result. And I'm just thinking that we need a key. So for the key, we could just use the element, which is the label. Okay. Okay, now let's update the color, the background color. So I'm going to create a function, set background, and I'm gonna say, this is going to have a argument, which is active. And if active tab is equal to active, then we want this to be background yellow. Otherwise, we want this to be background gray. Okay, and now we can copy this, come here to the class, replace this, and button. We still need a button there, but just pass here our new function, set background, and we pass here the element. Okay, so if element active, this element here, soft, is equal to active tab, then yellow, otherwise background gray. We save it, and let's see why it's not working. This seems to be okay. Let's inspect this element and have a look here. Okay, so the class is getting applied, but we have this background color here that is overwriting our style. So let's go to the global CSS because now we can remove this. Okay, save it. Yes, so now it's working. Go back to skills. We click in hard skills of the skills. So this is working fine. Okay, and something else, we need to align this one here at the left, at the right side. Sorry. So to do that, I think I'm going to do something similar how I have it here. Okay. So I'm gonna copy this, come here, paste it, and say set tabs alignment, and then say here this will be the tab. If the tab is equal to soft between quotes like this, then I want this to be text left. Otherwise, I want to be to have it as text right. And now I come here and I do the same. $, set tabs alignment and element. Okay. Cool. This is looking good. But now I need some paddings around. So let's come to the bottom here and just say px, so I can add padding at the left and the right, left and right. So let's say 8. Maybe it's a bit too much, so let's just say 4. Okay, I think this looks good. Yes. Okay, let's go back to skills, and now we need to create the content. So we need to create this part here in the middle. So let's just create a div that wraps all of this content because I need a new div. Here I'm going to have a list of items. So all and then li. And we are going to create this here, okay? So for now, let's just say list. Here we have it. And to make this easier to read, actually, I'm just going to copy this and save it in a const. Okay, so const tabs and save it here. So then I just need to call it like this, okay? Make this smaller and this is smaller as well, okay? So for the list, I need to class name first of all, and I need to display this as a row, and it needs to be flex wrap, so it goes to the second line when it doesn't have more space in the screen. And okay, so let's start by adding those. Row flex wrap. Okay, I wanted to start at the beginning, so content start, and let's save this. I'm here. Okay, and because this is a list, I want to make sure that it doesn't add the typical styles. Okay, so for each list, I want to have an icon. So let's say span, and here is where the icon is going to go, and then list. So let's import the data that we have in our data page file. So let's come here. And in skills, we can see that we have an object with 2 elements, soft and hard. And in each element, we have an array with a list of objects. In each object, we have an icon and the text. Okay, so let's pass this down. So in About Us is where we are calling the component skill. So from here is where we need our data. So let's say data and then skills. And here we need also skills. And then from the page, our main page, we also need to pass this. So skills. Okay. So from our page, we are importing our data and we are passing this down to About Us. And in About Us, that is where we are importing our skill component. And let's just call it skills. We are also passing the data, and then in skills here, we can destructure this. So we have data. Okay, so now this data, I'm going to copy here. I'm going to map this data here to create a list of lists. Okay, so I'm going to say data, and I want to access the data of the active element. So active tab, and now map and element. And now I want to return here this list. Okay, let's just remove all of this. Okay, and within this element, I want to access the icon and the text, this and this, right? So I'm just gonna go ahead and directly destructure here the icon and the text. So icon and text, okay? So the text will go here, and the icon will go here. And here is icon. Okay, save it, and now and now we can see our icons and text. We need here a key. Okay, so for a key, what can we use? We could use the index, although it's probably not the best to use the index. So as the key, I'm just going to use the text. We could also use the hook that I showed you earlier, but let's just leave the text here. And so okay, and now class name, and I'm going to create a specific class for this because so it's just to have it cleaner. Okay, so a skill slider, I don't need this actually. And I'm gonna come here to the global CSS. Okay, so first apply. Okay, and I want the background color to be this green light color that we have. So background green light. Okay, and now the text, I want it to be a bit larger than what we have here. I wanted to have some padding around, so like this and like this. Okay, so top and bottom 2, left and right 4. Okay, and we can see here the result. Okay, so now I want let's just say the width is fit, and I want to be so that they are rounded MV. Okay, so we can see that they are slightly round. Let's go back to our skill and here, because we need to add some styles here to the parent. So to the parent, we want some padding. So let's say p wide 4. Okay, it's to separate the list elements to the tabs. And now let's just add a gap. So gap 2. Okay, it's looking a bit better already. I think 2 will do. Okay, and if they are soft skills, I want them to start at the left hand side, but if they are hard skill, I want them to start at the right side. Okay, so let's do this here. Let's change this then. Wrap this in curly brackets and backticks. And here, I'm going to say $, and I'm going to say if active tab is equal to soft, so this is similar to what we did earlier, then we won't justify start, otherwise we won't justify end. Okay, so we save it. Okay, let's come here, test it, and I want to add some animations, some transitions when we click these tabs. So let's go to Tailwind and let's search here for transition. Okay, transition and timing. Okay, so we can add transition, easy in, easy out. Okay, hover easy in. Okay, so let's just add that then. And we need to go to global CSS to the button, and here we want to say transition. We want to use the easy in and out, so let's copy this. Easy in, out, copy this as well, and we want to say delay. Who is this? How is this? Okay, I don't know, so let's just search for a delay. Okay, so let's just say delay 150, save it. And we can see like when we click there is a delay there. Actually, I'm not sure if I quite like it. Let's just make it quicker, the delay. Okay, let's just remove this delay. Okay, yes, I think I prefer the transition without the delay. And now let's add hover as well. So for the hover, let's say hover, and here we want to say if it's hover, hover and colon. Says hover, I want the text color to be yellow and the background to be black, okay? Text yellow, background black. Okay, and actually I just realized that I added delay, but what I actually wanted to add was duration. So let's just add this here. I want to say 200. Okay, yeah, I think this looks good. Okay, so this is how you can add hover styles. You just specify hover, colon, and the style. And this is how you can add transition animations. Okay, let's save this and go back to skills. Okay, so now let's have a look at what we have here. This component has been converted into a client component just by this. We use a user state for the tabs. Then we have here two easy functions to apply styles depending on what is active, and here styles per tab. Then here we have all the content for the tabs, okay? And here we have our content. So we could also store this in a const. So we could say content. Then we copy this, we come here and okay, and just display like this. We save it. Okay, and now let's just resize the screen. Okay, and yeah, this is looking really good as well. Let's create our last component, which is going to be professional experience. Okay, this one here. So let's come here, and within components, we are going to say professional experience.tx. Okay, we are going to create here this component. Just do a bit of rename. Cool. And we are going to call this component from our homepage. So professional experience. And just like this, let's come to our localhost and we can see here our components. Okay, let's go to the data. If we scroll down here, we have professional data. We have a title, okay? We have the experience, which is an array of objects, and each object has the role, description, and current. This is a Boolean, true or false, that is basically says if you are currently working in this job or not, okay? So, okay, let's import this data in our homepage. Here, we can just say professional data. And now we pass this data. And in our professional experience, we are going to do exactly the same as we did all this time. And now here we are going to destructure the data. And we are going to say const title. I forgot. Okay, so it's title and experiences. Okay. Cool. So let's just close this and come here and experiences. And from data, okay? So the first thing that we need is a h2, and this is title. Let's just make this small so we can see it. Okay, title. And this actually should be a section, okay? And we need a div that is going to wrap all our cards, all of these cards here, okay? And this should be flex. So flex in a column, flex column, okay? And now within here, I'm going to add another map, experiences.map, and then here item. Oops. And I'm just gonna say, I'm just gonna have a div. We have a div here. We need a span for this line here at the top, and probably another div to wrap the title and the description. So span with a close tag, and then a div. Okay, looking like this. And here's h3 and a paragraph, okay? And in this item, the data that we have is role, description, and current. So I'm just going to destructure that directly. So role, description, and current, okay? So role is in the h3, role. Description goes here in the paragraph. And this current is what we are going to use for to print a green background in this span or a gray background, okay? Okay, so let's just add here class name and say, if this current is true, then we want the background to be green. Otherwise, we want the background to be gray, okay? Description and yes. Okay, we can see our data here. Let's start adding some styles then. In the div class, we want this to be a flex column as well. Let's start adding some styles. We want this to be display flex, so class name, and we also want it to be a column, so I'm just gonna copy this and display it here. Come here. The cars are slightly rounded, so rounded LG. And then for this part, I want to have a background gray light and padding around. They also have a slightly shadow, so let's just go to here and search for shadow. Let's see what they have. Shadow. Okay, so we could go for this drop shadow MD that we will add it here. That we will add it here. Save this. Come back. Okay, we can see here the shadow. Let's just add a gap and maybe a little bit more, just like this. And now current background gray. or background. Okay, so we have our span, but what we're missing is a height. That's why we cannot see it. So height, let's just say 2, and we need to wrap all of this, a curly bracket and $. Okay, so now we can see it here. We need some margin bottom here. So class name MV6, for example, okay? And gonna add some margin top here. And don't forget to add the key here. Roll will do. Okay, let's have a look at how this looks like in a desktop. Cool. Let's go back to the design. Okay, yes, it's looking the same. We have this sidebar fixed, and you can see that we can scroll here. We can go to soft skills or hard skills. And then we have here all our professional experience. And now let's see how this looks like in a mobile. Okay, and let's just choose iPhone 12 Pro. Okay, and it's looking really nice. The only thing that will change is this padding around. So here we have P16 for RAM. So we could go to our layout here, and we could say this only applies to SM, otherwise P8. Save it, and yeah, I think this looks better. And there you have it, a curriculum website. Okay, now we have our app ready. I'm going to commit these changes to GitHub. So I'm going to stop this and do git add dot, and then git commit -m for message, and I'm going to add here a message. So app ready to share, for example. Okay, and now I'm going to do git push origin. I always do this, to be honest, so GitHub will tell me, okay, so the terminal will tell me exactly the command I have to run, which is with this set upstream. And this is because this branch doesn't exist in the remote repository. If you have been following this video, but you haven't created a new repository for your project, head over to GitHub, as I'm going to show you how to create one. We come here to repositories, we clicking new, okay? And now here at the top, you need to choose the name for your repository. So you can choose here anything you want. Name app. Okay, now scroll down, and here you can choose whether you want it to be public or private. And if you want to add git ignore. For which files you want to add a git ignore. And for me, you can choose node if you want, but I'm just going to choose none. Okay, so at the moment here, it tells you there's a map of the repository you are creating. Once you're done, you just need to click this green button, create repository. And here your repository will be created. If you have chosen a git ignore file, you will see it like this. Okay, let's go back and see how it will look like if you don't choose to add a git ignore. Okay, so if we don't choose that, we will come to this screen where it shows us 3 ways to get us started. I'm going to choose this option, copy this. I need to go to the terminal and here paste this. This will link our local repository to the GitHub repository. Let's deploy our app by creating a new app in Vercel. So first things first, if you don't have a Vercel account, make sure to create one first, okay? So Vercel, so we come here, click in Vercel, sign up or log in, and I'm going to connect this with GitHub. Authenticating. And now I'm going to show you how you can synchronize your GitHub repository with your Vercel account. add new project. We are going to choose the repository that we want, resume app, import. And here you can add your project name. And okay, you can add environment variables, build and output settings. I don't need to change anything. I'm going to click on deploy. Vercel will now build and deploy your project. So this process might take just a few minutes. And here it is, our website, our curriculum website has been deployed. Let's just click here in continue to dashboard. Oops, not sure what happened. Okay, let's just refresh. And if we want to change our domain, we can click here in settings. And if we scroll down to, if we click here in domains, we can write here the domain of our site. You just need to follow the instructions for verifying and setting it up. Once the domain is set up, it might take a few minutes for it to propagate. Congratulations, you have successfully deployed your Next.js and Tailwind CSS project to Vercel. And that's it. Our project is now synchronized with Github and automatically deployed to Vercel whenever we push changes to Github. What can you do to improve this website? Here are a few suggestions for those who are looking to expand their coding skills. You can add new sections to your curriculum, such as portfolio or a blog, to showcase your projects and writing skills. We'll see how to create a portfolio website next week. Use CSS animations to make the website more visually appealing and engaging. You can add more interactivity to your website by using more JavaScript here, such as a form that allows users to contact you directly. We also say this in the following weeks. These are just a few suggestions to help you improve your coding skills and make your curriculum website stand out. Get creative and have fun with it. Don't forget, by following these steps and building this website, you could have a free consultation with me. I will give you personalized advice on how to further your skills, showcase your skills and experience, and find a job. So make the most of this opportunity by completing this tutorial before anyone else. Alright, that's it for this tutorial. I hope you found it helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Do you want to keep practicing your skills? Check out this video and leave me a comment with your thoughts about this tutorial and subscribe. See you in my next video.